Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey podcast where me and my brother and our good friend Dan talk about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL. A quick one this week. We are recording on Monday, and it's been a great weekend for some. Well, actually, both of us, all three of us, it's been a good weekend for our teams which we support. So we'll go into the games very shortly because there were some big results. There is a bit of news though. Should we start with the rant or should we start with the sign-in news, Charlie? Should we go with the rant first?
I don't know what the rant is, to be honest.
So we'll go on to the rant first. GB. Well,
Oh,
they
man.
played.
I'm a
Oh,
Poland supporter.
we might sound a bit biased here, but we want everyone to see it from what we see our point of view as fans. I think you even agree with us, Dan. So GB played their three games, and I was really happy that a lot of National League players got chosen. They weren't really expected to win, I don't think, because we had such a young team. And giving opportunities to a lot of National League players, but there was someone who didn't get their opportunity, and we were very, very annoyed. And that was Rennie Mar. And obviously, they had a game on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so three games in a row and Rennie didn't start in one of them. And I was very, very disappointed because Rennie has been the best goalie in the National League this season. His numbers have been incredible. And no disrespect to Lucas Bryan, he's a great keeper, but he's not been playing lots this season, and he's a backup goalie. And I think Rennie deserved at least one of those games, man, especially a three-game weekend. And yeah, I was just gutted for him because it means he doesn't officially get his cap because he didn't start. So Charlie, I know you were a bit frustrated as well
Yeah, I support Poland. You know,
because of Malas.
I've given up with GB. Yeah, no, on a real, it was a good tournament for a lot of the youngsters. I was just annoyed. I was like, come on, man. You've given all of them guys you took in the squad an opportunity to play for GB, and then you've had back to back to back games, and you played the guy who's played about 6 games this year. Like risking injury, one, I know it didn't happen, but you're risking an injury playing a guy 3 games in a row with a heavy shot load in every game. Um, and it was just disappointing because I was like, and I am Swindon biased.
Rennie's worked hard.
I want to
Like,
see the Swindon guys get things, and I've never been a huge fan of GB because they have a load of Canadians who play for GB. And I don't agree with the dual national Canadians who have got a third cousin couldn't play for GB. So yeah, I don't always agree with GB, but it was so nice to see so many youngsters get an opportunity. And then I was, oh, Rennie didn't even get a game, and it was back to back to back. So that's great. But no, I think it's a good tournament for GB on a positive for many players. Like, give him guys like Liam Steele. I can see him being future GB sort of player. Kale Beattie, Harewood. So many guys from the National League got opportunities. Malik got to play. He got called up later on. So yeah, it was a great opportunity for a lot of guys to feel GB hockey, which is a higher level. And also, I don't know if many Elite League fans watch us, but I do think it like, especially with some of the results in the games, 2 games were super close, playing against mainly I'd say like Elite League quality players. Like Poland would have a lot of players who could play Elite League. And same with the other teams. I think it proved to like guys like Norris and stuff like that. If they are given the opportunity in the Elite League, they can play it. And I do believe that. A lot of elite league clubs, I think, almost try shelter Brits, and I think a lot of the Brits can actually play at that level. They are going to make mistakes for the first 20, 25 games, but I think a lot of the Brits are very capable to play at that level, and I think that tournament proved that with the fact that they were competing against Poland's best team, and I can't remember the second game. I don't know what team that was.
Italy,
Italy playing against Italy. I think it
they're
was the
going.
same
They're
team.
hosting the flipping Olympics soon. And
Yeah,
they only beat us in overtime.
the Italy team, which was hosted, was the same one which played in the World Championships. Pretty much, I think it was 95% apart from the goalie, and we took them to overtime. And I'm like, that was half of a national team. So like, it shows that the boys can compete. So that was a big positive. But I'm Swindon biased. I wanted to see Rennie get a shot, and I think it was extremely harsh to not play him when it's 3 games and there's nothing on the line really.
Yeah, just giving them an opportunity. But that was a bit frustrating. And then another comment I wanted to add in, obviously you had those players with GB and Shudra and Nielsen both went, and they're obviously Sheffield Steelers players. Well, Steelers got pumped 4-0 at home on the Sunday by Cardiff, and the coach come out after and said it would have been nice to have fourth liners to play. And I put out a tweet today and I said, well, you talk about your fourth liners and it would be nice for them to play. Well, you haven't given them any minutes this season. They've been getting 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 57 seconds in the lineup, not even getting a single shift. And it's a hot topic with us National League fans, isn't it, Dan? Because there are such quality Brits in the National League who could make that step up, but they don't get the minutes. And when to see a coach say that he could have done with them, like well, you haven't given them minutes all season, so it's just a bit frustrating, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just an easy topic to sort of go to on an interview. Like if you're trying to
Yeah.
sort of shelter away from a loss, you just go towards sort of the fourth line and you can go towards the depth and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, there's guys in there that can do a job on a fourth line, and there's guys in there that would do better on maybe a third line or even a second line potentially. It would depend on who they're with. But the guys that are sort of that we look at potentially aren't going to be the best option for a fourth line role because they've never played that fourth line role in their life. They're normally the goal scorers in the team in the National League, and they go up and they. This is why they're not getting enough ice time because they're going up to these teams playing as depth roles, and then the coach is like, "Why aren't you fulfilling the depth role that I want you to?" Well, it's because they're not depth players. They're not guys that go around hitting. They're not guys that are going to be getting into corners. They're going to be guys that are going to be in the slot, ready for the pass and ready for the shot, and they'll get you goals. But obviously, in the elite league, it's so hard to break into a top six because of the imports that they've got in there. Most teams, you won't get a spot at all. And yeah, it's just one of those things that the elite league just hasn't really seemed to work out at the minute.
Yeah, there are Brits who do get opportunities. I'll say that. Archie Hazeldean this season, he's got loads of opportunity. Hopkins has come through. He's got a lot of opportunity. Talbot this season. You're looking at Milton stepping up for Guildford with injury, so there has been positives. But yeah, anyways, ran over onto some signing news. We just missed it last week because we did a pod early, me and Dad. But the Seahawks signed Brock Bartholomew back. As a fifth import, because no import has been sacked off yet. Matty did reply to our tweet and say eventually one of them will be not sacked off but released because well, MK are the only team who's got five imports, and we said it when they got it. I don't think it's right that a team can have five imports in a league which is you can only play four. I don't think that is right whatsoever. But Brock does come in. He didn't play this weekend. We know what he can offer offensively. He got like 60 odd points when he played 2 years ago. I've got a few question marks though, and the first one is he hasn't played for over a year, 18 months. He wasn't with the team last season. And also, the league has evolved since he last played in the league. It's got considerably better. There's a fourth import. And also, he won't have Det Barmer next to him. So I'm not saying he's not going to be the same player. He might do, but there are a couple of factors, and I think it will take a bit of time for him to settle in, Charlie.
Yeah, I think it was probably something which I would have done at the
Yeah,
start of
they
the year.
needed it. Yeah.
We did mention it at the start, but Matty's learned, and he's realised I wanted D. He's gone for someone he knows, who knows how, who does know the league. It has got better, but he does understand that we're still a heavy point scoring league. Like that part hasn't changed dramatically. Um, yeah, I don't mind the signing at all. I think it is going to take him some time to get his legs going, which is kind of how it feels Stallard was. So it feels maybe they're backtracking again. Now they finally, in my eyes, got their four imports kind of rolling a bit, consistently contributing in the lineup each week. Now, if they put Brock in, it's kind of going, all right, now we got to get someone else going again. But I think if they can get a fully fit, good Brock Bartholomew and whatever import forward they scratch, I would doubt it'd be Sobchak or Cornel. I doubt any of them two would get scratched personally. I think they're their two top guys. Um, I think it will improve their team. I think having a guy who can log 25 to 30 minutes a night at D is a big asset. So yeah, I think it's a good signing. I think it's solid, and I think especially as I think Hull are more of a potential cup team if they get through, and then definitely they're going to be looking at playoffs. I think having a guy like that will make them more rounded and ready for playoffs.
Yeah, they got to a cup final with him when he played that one season, Dan. Yeah, I think it was needed. Anything else to add on that one?
Um, yeah, no, I think it's just. I think if they when well obviously they're going to scratch a forward, but they need some guys to step up and they need some guys to fill in that role of import forward that's going to obviously have been scratched out. But yeah, like you were saying with Brock as well coming into this league, I don't think he's going to make as much of an impact as he did last time he played because the league has just got better, and I think that style of play is sort of slowly going out of it. I think like the full on offense from D, I don't think that's a way to go anymore. I think it's sort of more teams are being more defensively structured and sort of forwards are even defending as well, and sort of you're creating that trap hockey. And I think a lot of teams are catching on to that. So I think Brock might have to come in and change his game a little bit, but it all depends on how he can sort of adjust himself to the league and come back into obviously playing in the national.
Yeah, but they still do like playing that offensive style. We'll have to see because on Saturday they played a different type of game on the road. And then the final one was Barry McKenzie's not with Bristol anymore. He's gone. And there was a lot of rumours he might go Fife because Fife are struggling for players. He's obviously been there before, lives up in Scotland, so that would probably make sense for him to get them some bodies. But I think Bristol have got a young team and he's a decent little player, but I don't think it's going to affect them too much. There's an opportunity now for some of those younger players to step up in that position. I think that's all of the news for this week. The Hello and welcome back. I'm delighted to be joined by Basingstoke Bison defenseman Ty Cathcart. How are you doing, mate?
What's going on, man? You all right?
Not too bad. Big weekend for you boys.
Yeah, massive.
4 point weekend, obviously getting that big one at home. And then an overtime win in Leeds, a tough place to go to. How did that one feel? The
Yeah, it was
bus journey
unreal.
home.
Yeah, it was sick. It was a good crack on the way home. Proper enjoyed it.
And you got your first goal of the season as well.
Yeah,
And in a tight game like that, that must have felt good to get one past Sam Gospel of all goalies as well.
yeah. I think it was a bit of a lucky one, but we'll take him. Took a couple of deflections, but we'll take it.
Overall, though, I saw the goal which Leeds scored, and obviously to get one of them goals against you with 5 minutes to go after you put in such a big performance, it must have been tough. But then, how about that play from kind of Spadafora over to Milton? Just patience with those final few seconds. They've really picked it up
It
kind
was,
of the last few
it
weeks,
was
haven't they?
gross. Yeah, it was gross. Those three are disgusting together.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be allowed, man. It's gross.
And I think Dan said you guys deserved it, and I think it was big for Will to get that overtime winning goal as well.
Yeah, massive. I think everyone needed it, just a bit of a confidence boost. I think we've been struggling, not training and stuff like that. And now getting back in the rink and getting a couple of points under our belt, it feels good.
Nice one. And talk about being back at home. Obviously, we'll go on. I'll go on to it in a bit. But what's it been like in the new Basingstoke updated barn?
Yeah, it's sick. I mean, it's pretty similar to how it was
Yeah,
before, kind of like when I was growing up there
yeah,
before
yeah,
it
yeah.
got a bit ratty and stuff like that. But it's unreal to be home, especially in front of such a packed rink. It's sick.
And you've picked up back-to-back wins at home now. Obviously, you got your first one the week before against Milton Keynes. You backed it up with another big one, and I think you're already seeing, as you said, now you've got a few training sessions under your belt. The team's just starting to click now, isn't
Yeah, boys are rolling. Bring on this weekend.
I want to go into two players specifically. Before we go back to the start, Selen and Spadafora, they've been put on the same line. Jeff's put them on the top line together, and they're the imports. They're going to be the ones to put up those big numbers. But how big have they been in the last few weekends?
Yeah, they're good, man. They're sick. And they're good guys as well. It's not
Yeah.
even like, yeah, they're just good to have in the room. They're a massive presence on the ice. They're sick.
Yeah. Right. Let's get back to the start then. And you're still a young lad, but where did it kind of where did you want to play hockey? What kind of yeah, it's not the main sport in England. So how did it come about playing ice hockey?
So both my mum and dad played hockey, and then
Nice.
obviously all my mum's brothers, Joe Baird, Brendan
Yeah.
Baird. So it was kind of inevitable that I was going to start playing at some point.
Yeah.
And then obviously Rome started, grew up, played juniors in Basingstoke, had a bit of time in Slough, a bit of time in Bracknell, and then obviously back to Basingstoke. So
And how was it in Basingstoke? 'Cause obviously back in the EPL, well, did you play for Basingstoke when they were in the EPL? Or was it when they just after it switched?
I never actually played for the Bison before.
No, I mean
I
when
went
you
to
were playing
Bracknell.
for the juniors, were the Bison in the EPL at that time? Was it
Yeah,
like 2015? Were you able to
yeah.
catch quite a few of the Bison games?
Yeah, so Joe and Bren came over for one season and then went to like Oxford or Isle of Wight,
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
around there. And Joe was playing in Basingstoke at the time. So
Mhm.
we were obviously at every game watching Joe.
Oh, nice one.
And then whenever I had a game, I'd be there and try and get back for the Basingstoke one.
Oh, nice one. And what was it like growing up through kind of that Basingstoke system?
Yeah, it was sick. It was good. Like, don't know, it's the same as anywhere else, right? It's just hockey.
Yeah, and I guess that was kind of playing at home, and you didn't take too much of a trip down the road. You obviously went down to Slough.
Yeah.
What was it like, kind of playing your first kind of men's hockey in the National One?
It was a bit of a surprise. Obviously, I did a bit of time with the Buffalo,
Mhm.
but the jump from NIHL 2 to NIHL 1 is massive,
Really?
and then obviously the jump from 1 to national is massive as well. So
Yeah.
it was just good to have that kind of stepping stone in the middle where I wasn't quite ready for the Bison yet.
Yeah.
So jumped up to Slough, did a couple of years there, and then managed to jump up and play in the National League with Bracknell.
Yeah, and obviously you're not the tallest of defensemen, but you pride yourself in battling hard and being physical, being a presence on the ice. Is that kind of something that's always been ingrained with you? Because Brendan and Joe, they're not the tallest of defensemen as
No.
well, but they'll still battle really hard. So did you kind of take a lot of stuff from them?
Yeah, it's just like you're not the biggest defenseman on the ice. You've got to try and be as physical and
Yeah.
like as good in the corners as you can. Just play that gritty style of hockey.
Yeah.
It's the bad way to play hockey.
Yeah.
So
And it's the Basingstoke way of playing
yeah,
hockey
it's
as well.
Basingstoke way to play hockey. Yeah.
And talk us through then. You obviously were playing with Slough, and you got the call up to play for the Bees for a bit, because I think they had quite a lot of injuries, didn't they? And
Yeah.
I think their decor took quite a big hit with injuries and players being out. So what was that like, kind of playing your first few games in the National League?
Yeah, it was cool. Obviously, like Bracknell was a big presence in juniors as well because Joe and Bren had both played for Bracknell as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of meant a lot to be able to put on a Bracknell jersey the same as them too, and
Yeah.
to do that for a while.
And then after the 15 games you played in that season, you obviously did the two-way with the Slough Jets and the Bees as well,
Yeah.
got a few more games. What was it like to kind of get your first big season under your belt for Bees? I think it was under Ash Tate and Dom as well?
Yeah.
So what was
Yeah,
that like, getting your
so
first kind of full
that
season?
was last year. That was
Yeah.
that was massive. Obviously, it really helped out. I don't like to say it with guys getting injured and
Yeah.
us missing guys. It was great for me because it meant I got loads of ice time. Like me and Moggy were averaging 25 minutes of ice time a night. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
I've never played so much hockey. Like we went up to Solway with 4D men. And we played the whole weekend with 4D men. We were
Oh
all
my God.
averaging like 25 minutes. It was ridiculous.
But as you
But
said, it was unfortunate you had injuries, but then that's where it gives the players like yourself an opportunity to kind of get that ice time and used to playing against those top forwards.
yeah, of course, right? Like it was great for me personally. Maybe not so much for the team, but it was great for me personally because my progression Like I
Yeah.
would never have got that opportunity anywhere else. So
Yeah.
it was a massive year for me last year.
And obviously, Max Wright played for the Bees last year. You couldn't have really asked for a better netminder to play in front of, could you?
Dude, the guy's disgusting. Like I don't care what anyone says. He's the best goalie in the league. Like you look at how many shots he faced. He was facing 60 shots a game,
I know.
and his save percentage was still top three in
Second
the
best
league.
in the league. Like, it was
Dude,
a
it's
joke.
crazy. Like it's just a joke.
And you had that full season. I think I remember me, Charlie, and Dan were saying, like, if the Bison come back, you should definitely be given an opportunity in the National League. When did you find out the Bison were coming back, and when did you find out that you were going to be getting a spot with the team?
Well, I think there were rumors quite early on,
Yeah,
like before the season ended. Everyone
before
kind of
Cov,
knew
actually,
that.
I think there was little
Yeah,
rumors.
so everyone kind of knew it was coming back. So I kind of had my ear to the door. Obviously, it did pique my interest.
Yeah.
Um, and then I was on holiday in Florida at the
Oh,
time
nice.
and spoke to Steve and kind of got things rolling from there. Went and skated a couple of times, and yeah, just kind of happened.
Nice
It
one.
was
And
great.
obviously, it took a bit. Steve took his time in getting the right coach, didn't he? And he ended up
Yeah.
going with Jeff. And when was that kind of first conversation you had with Jeff after you'd signed?
Oh, it might have been the day that I signed. I spoke to
Really?
Jeff. Yeah, I think I was signed under Jeff, not
Yeah.
under Steve. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Steve signed a couple of guys at the start,
Yeah.
and then didn't bring anyone else in until Jeff came in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Jeff made the decisions from there. But
It must have been a smooth kind of transition. Obviously, you've been with the Bison Juniors, and a lot of the Bees players moved over as well. So it wasn't like you were a completely new face in the locker room. You had a lot of mates who you played with the season
yeah,
before.
yeah, of course. I mean, for me, there was nowhere else that I was going to go.
Yeah.
Like before any conversations were had, I'd already made my mind up. Like there wasn't anywhere else I was going to go.
And to be fair, for a first season back, the Bison have put together a solid team. You had obviously Zach come back, you had Harding come back, Norcliffe come back. So all the boys kind of reuniting together. I bet everyone, all the players from the Bees, yourself, Will, Moggy, were all in Max Wright's ear telling him, come on, just join with the Bison. I bet you were buzzing when
Straight away.
found out that you were going to be playing in front of him again.
Yeah, for sure. It's wicked to play with Max.
Nice one. This season then, as you said, but it was quite a tough start because you didn't have the home rink for I think quite a few weeks. It might have even been a couple months.
Yeah.
What was that?
First 4 weeks of the season, I think.
Yeah, what was that like playing on the road and not being able to really train at all?
It was tough not being able to skate for one. Like
Yeah.
there is a lot of us have played together before,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of new faces, and trying to get the power play to click without
Yeah.
training and things like that is hard. But positives, we were rested.
Yeah.
Like we were playing one game weekend, so we're always kind of fresh. Just didn't really have any time to catch our legs, so we struggled.
Yeah. But you got that first kind of game in. Again, you hadn't really had any training before that, but
No.
after a few weeks you've played now in the home barn, you got your back-to-back wins. Are you kind of Jeff's starting to implement the kind of ideas which you want you guys to be playing?
Yeah, for sure. We want to make that place the worst place in the league to come.
Yeah.
Like everyone used to say as kids, like that's the worst away game. It's not that it's not a nice rink, but it's a big rink to come to. It's hard to play on.
Yeah.
And we're just going to make it as horrible as we can to play there.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to come to Basingstoke this year.
No, and the fans as well, the grit, like it. I think the fans specifically, the fact that it's shaped like a barn, so it just echoes around. How cool's it been to see, even though we've been away for nearly 3 years, packed out in Basingstoke again? It's just such a hockey town,
Wicked.
isn't it?
Oh, it's unreal, man. It's so cool, and it's so loud in there.
Really?
Like when you're on the ice, it's loud. It echoes everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
And on a personal level, how have you kind of found the start to the season? Obviously, you had a full season last year in the national, so you got to know a lot of the kind of players which were in the league. But how's it kind of been playing this season in a new team, but still against a lot of players which you played against last season?
Yeah, I mean, I think the league overall is a lot stronger this year.
Yeah,
Like the raising the import level was one thing. There's a lot of guys coming down from the elite league. Like
yeah,
it's a much stronger league this year. I think I struggled at the start, not being able to skate.
yeah.
Maybe even our first home game, where it's quite a big rink, trying to get used to that without skating first is hard.
Yeah,
But I think I speak for myself and all the boys when I say we're kind of finding our feet and starting to get things going.
absolutely. A big 4 point weekend. Before we finish then, quickly, I'm sure, well, Steve said before the season, you're not just going to come in to make the numbers. You've come in to really, as you said, push, especially at home, trying to make it a tough place to go to. And I'm sure playoff that playoff spot is a big target for you guys this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think if we don't get it, we've done something wrong. With the team that we've got, if we're not
Yeah.
making playoffs, there's something wrong.
And it's going to
We
be
need to.
it's going to be competitive, isn't it? With a lot of the teams who haven't got playoff spots the last few seasons, really battling for those points as well.
Yeah. I, I don't know. I don't think we're going to be battling for a playoff spot. I think we're in there.
Yeah,
Like I think if we're bouncing around 7th, 8th, there's something gone wrong. I don't
really.
think we should be there this year.
Well, it's tough to say right now, isn't it? Because you're obviously like 6, 7 games behind everyone else, and
Of
you've kind
course.
of got to catch up with those games. But you started to pick it up the last few weeks. I know I just mentioned them, but we always finish on kind of the message to the fans. Obviously back in Basingstoke, I think it's over 1,000 fans are coming already, which is great
Yeah.
to see. What's kind of your message to those fans who come and support every week?
Well, I mean, thank you for sticking by us for one. Obviously, we appreciate it's been tough with having no rink. The first 2 games have been unreal, so just keep that going and build on that.
Nice one. I just mentioned to you off camera. I'm going to be there Saturday, so I'm looking forward to being there, experiencing it. And it will be a neutral game for me as well. So
Yeah.
that'll be nice as well. But I appreciate you hopping on. And good luck for next weekend.
Cheers, mate. Cheers for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks, Ty. Big talking points of the games because every weekend it's just producing some fantastic results. Everyone's beating everyone, which is what we love to see. It's closer than ever. I know me and Dad talked about that in the last episode, but the first game happens to be the Swindon one. So we will start with that one. Swindon's only game of the weekend against the Tigers, a massive game. A cup game, 2 cup points up for grabs. And no Renimar, obviously, with GB. Didn't get a game, but still didn't have him. No Glenn Billen in the lineup as well. I think he's hopefully back next week. But yeah, tough one against a strong offensive Telford team, and it was the perfect first period. 4-1. Tyler Watkins, Malazinski, and Nell, that top line, and they did the business, contributing to 3 of the goals. Malas with a nice short-handed. He was wearing a cage, and I think he shouldn't take that cage off anymore, Charlie, because he's got his big goal at home. He got one against Solway, so that's back-to-back games he's got goals now. And we know with Malas, he might have a little bit of a cold patch, but then as soon as he scores one and another one, he starts getting going, doesn't he?
Yeah, I watched the highlights on YouTube today. And Malas is playing well and he's actually like celebrating and he's getting involved and he would have been the person who's probably most critical on himself when he had one goal in I think 13 games, and that only goal was off his skate. So he's managed to put the puck in the net with his stick twice in the last 2 games, and I think that's a big asset for Swindon if you can get Malas firing at maybe half a goal a game, maybe a little bit more than that, and then obviously his assists always come. I think you've then got 3 import forwards and an import D who are all going to be contributing both ends of the ice and putting the puck in the back of the net. And so it's another asset for Swindon. And in a game where we're a little bit short and no Glenn Billing, no Reed, no Rennie Mart, we played against a fully fit Talford team and we beat them, and it was a huge 2 cut points. And so we've just got to keep going through each game by game, and yeah, it was a big win, and the top six needed to step up, and they really stepped up in that first period where we won 4-1 in the first.
Yeah, well, if Telford had woken up in that first period and kept it tight, they might have got something from that game, because the third period they really dominated. They scored 2 quick goals. Aaron then took a timeout, which was very important because it just slowed the game down, regrouped everyone. Shout out to Ben Clark Leach, 18 years old, coming in a massive game. At a 4-3 game, he must have been so nervous, but he managed to compose himself, made some really good saves. 35 saves out of 38 is very good against, as you said, the Telford team, who are the top scoring team in the league. And yeah, we ground out that win, which is a big win. I still think we've got levels to go up. Our power play's just not clicking at the moment for some reason. We had such a good power play last year over the years, and you think with Ben O'Connor coming in, it should be even better. But it's for some reason it's not quite clicking, and the fact that we're still pulling off the wins without the power play clicking is a good sign. So yeah, big win for Swindon. Big 2 points in the cup, and then over to 45 minutes down the road, Dan. Bison, again, for them, it was a big first period and the first minute of the second period, which has ultimately won you that game.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of went into the game with a plan. Obviously working through the week on forward checking and sort of putting the pressure on in their zone. And we hemmed Bristol in really well for the whole game, especially the second period. We obviously only had 2 shots against us in the second period, so we were very good offensively, and we put the pressure on guys. You sort of Bristol. Every time I've watched Bristol, they've always struggled to sort of break out and break the puck out. And we caught on that pretty early, and we sort of got guys forward checking. We cut off passes and just made sure they struggled to get past the red line, and just sort of keep rolling the lines, and then you can get instant pressure again. And obviously the big guys stepped up again. Obviously Selen and Spadafora, the imports, they've been stepping up every game so far. Just getting better and better. I think that move of Spadafora back onto the top line with Selen was a needed move. I just think it works so much better having Selen and Spadafora together, because he needed that guy that can sort of keep up with his level and get the best out of both of them. But yeah, it was just an all-rounded good game. It got tight. Napier was definitely keeping Bristol in it at points. I think that's probably the best game I've seen him play this season, and probably maybe the whole of last year as well. But yeah, it was a solid win at home, and yeah, just keep the train rolling.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of kind of the Goodbye and Balaz kind of duo. They are relied on to carry that offense with points. Don't get me wrong, there's players who'll step up and get points as well, but those two are the guys who are consistently putting up 2-3 points a game. And they did that, and it's a big win, back-to-back home wins for the Bison. So showing that it's a tough place to go already. And you're right, they are starting to click. A team which isn't quite clicking, Charlie, is Milton Keynes, and they were without Malik and Norris on the Saturday, obviously with GB, and they come across a whole team who without probably their best player this season, Bobby Chamberlain. He's scored so many goals. So Hull had a plan coming into it, and I think obviously I made a little jokey tweet, but the thing which made me laugh is Hull were criticised a lot going with the 4 imports, and Matty explained it to us on the podcast before the season. He wants this kind of shutdown game, but also being able to just roll those lines. And yeah, 3-1 in Milton Keynes, and I think Milton Keynes' goal was come off Noah Karaninainen's skate. That's a very good result. Whether you think Hull played pretty hot hockey or not, I think the only team really that can play pretty hockey in Milton Keynes is Leeds, because they can go toe to toe with them in that back and forth, fast paced game. And yeah, fair play to Hull, and the imports stepped up. Stallard getting a goal, and Sobchak getting a nice goal. I know you watched the stream, but it's just not clicking with Milton Keynes, is it? That's back to back home losses as well, and when they've been so dominant at home over the years, I think teams, Charlie, are starting to think we can go Milton Keynes and we can get 2 points here. Whereas 2 seasons ago, you were going, oh, you know what? we'd taken over. We'd take a point before the game started. So I think mentally, other teams are going, right, we can get some points here.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't a great game from MK. They just lacked quite a lot of creativity in the final third. McLaughlin was really good, Headley was really good. Um, the goals scored by Hull were just good goals. Noah Kaharin was probably my man of the match. He
Yeah.
was really, really good. He's starting to find his feet by the
Hey,
looks of it.
I might not get it, but I did put him as my young player of the season to watch out for, and I think he's stepping up as being that top young guy for them.
Yeah, him and Spraggan for sure. They kind of share minutes, and yeah, and one of them's probably going to be battling to play with Brock.
Yeah.
So it's a big opportunity. But yeah, MK just they're lacking that final product. Norris obviously turned up the next night, and I think you could really tell that loss from Norris. They lacked a top sixer, but you need the imports to step up.
Yeah.
Dubai was really quiet. Jokinen was really quiet, and Krenchuk had one moment. He always looks probably more lively out of the three. But yeah, they were burning them off at the end of the game. It wasn't pretty. Because I think for MK they've had such consistent scoring over the last probably 3 seasons, where putting the puck in the back of the net's never normally the problem. And this year it feels like they're probably better defensively than they are offensively.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't think it's time to like majorly panic, but I think MK's wow, some people's expectations on MK will be lower now than they were originally. I didn't go quite as high on them when the season started. I put them in fourth. And I think probably that's around the area of fourth, fifth, potentially even sixth is where they'll probably finish. But yeah, they've got some work to do, and I think as well they lost both Osborne brothers. They're quite, and this is again unheard of for MK. They're quite shallow in depth if they
Yeah.
have a player or two out. They only had 3 lines of forwards and 6D if it wasn't for the emergency players who came in. Like for MK, that is so rare to not have 4 lines which you can play. So I do think reinforcements are needed at that team if they're able to get them because they've always been a 4 line hockey team anyway. So yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. It was a cracking performance from Hull. I didn't really mention them too much, but for MK, it does feel a bit off at the moment, and it feels a bit un MK.
Yeah, it's not clicking. They have obviously had a lot of changes in the summer. I still don't think they've properly replaced the players they lost. And the imports again, we're not going to go into it, Dan. We've spoke about it, but I still think just rotating an import every game it just doesn't help, does it? Because it can never get a consistent run of games. And you look at Spanifor coming back in now, he was their best player on Sunday, and he's someone who actually gives a toss about playing for Milton Keynes. So you've got to play him, but that means you then got Forsberg, who was arguably one of their best players coming into the end of the season, who's sitting on the bench. And imagine last season when they just won the playoffs, you told me that Forsberg was going to be the D man sat. He was going to be the import sat. You'd be like, you must be joking. So, yeah, I think changes probably will be made soon. We'll have to see. But as you said, it's still early days. There's a lot of games to go, and it's a big win for Hull. And then the final game. Sorry, there was 2 more games. The Steel Dogs are just on another planet right now. Their form is an absolute joke. Um, they win 6-2 at home against the Phantoms. Gendanov with a hat trick, Ripley with a couple, and this game was without Steele and Watson. So the imports really stepping up, and a tough one for Peterborough. No Dylan Lawrence at the moment. No Tom Norton, who's obviously out at the moment. Salem, we know, has been out from the start, but they're really struggling at the moment. But Dan, Sheffield, man, we'll go on to the Sunday game. But after this weekend, they're now 10 games won in a row.
Yeah, and even though they're doing that, not many people are talking about them. They're just slowly getting about their business, going to these games, getting the points, going back, do it all over again, and that's exactly what they need to be doing. They've got guys there. I saw a stat. I think they're the least like penalised team like for like penalty points wise. So I think they're sort of obviously Slava being the coach. They're obviously well drilled in, but I think they're a team that are very calm. I think they know their game and they just sort of play it. And I think as soon but even if Sheffield get caught out, I think they're just going to keep rolling that way until something happens. And I don't blame them because it's working for them. And I think they're able to roll all three lines. They can roll all their lines. They've got really good D. And obviously, Oldell's stepping up at the minute. If that stays that way, then happy days for him. But it's always going to be, you always have that question mark. I think that's what I have anyway. But at the minute, Sheffield haven't got to change anything. They've got some games coming up. Obviously, we'll talk about it, but they got Bison on the Saturday, which is they're going to be going into that game very confident, and Bison are also confident at the minute. But yeah, I mean Sheffield top performances from them all round because all the players there are stepping up, and every player at the right time is just doing their bit for the team.
Yeah, their decor, I think, is helping massively. We said their decor was very good. They had quite a shaky start. They couldn't win at home, could they? And now they've just won 10 in a row. And I will mention Oldell because in our Sheffield preview, and hands up, we'll put our hands up. We said Oldell's not played as a starter. For I don't know if he's played in his career as a starter in a level as high as the National League. I think he played quite a lot in the National One, but he comes into this Sheffield team, had a bit of a tough start. So did the whole team, but he's settled now. His last 5 games, he's had above a 9 save percentage in every one of those 5 games. And credit to him. And he's got to keep playing like that if they are going to compete for that league. And the way they're playing at the moment, scoring, it seems like when he does let a few in, like they did on Sunday, you're going to let goals in against Hull. It's all right because you've got the forward core to then score 4, 5, 6 goals. And that's what they've been doing at the moment. So credit to Sheffield. They're going under the radar because I think you got your MK Swindon, your Leeds, but Sheffield, man, and Slava. Like he's got these. This is a better team than he had at Peterborough, and it's showing because he's been able to coach these guys to take it one game at a time and keep rolling. So yeah, big win for Sheffield, 6-2. And then the final game on the Saturday is the double header. Solway Romford. We'll do both of them at the same time because the first game was an absolute cracker. The Raiders went 4-0 up. And you're thinking 4-0, game's got to be over from there. You got CC in goal. Well, Solway scored 4 power play goals. Charlie, what was the crazy stat with penalty minutes in the third period for the Raiders?
Romp got 37 pims in the third.
So yeah, that's why Solway scored 4 power play goals because the Raiders couldn't stop getting penalties. And it didn't cost them in the end because it went all the way to a shootout, and Charlie's boy, TJ Anderson, got the winning shootout goal. We know how good he has been this season. But again, they may have to battle back from 4-0 down to get a point. I mean, credit to Solway. And that could be a big point for them come to the playoff battle. And then you look at the Sunday, it makes it even better because they end up getting a comfortable win, 4-1 win against the Raiders. And that's a 3-point weekend for them. And I was talking to you yesterday, Charlie. That's 6 points out of 8 they've got in double headers at home against Swindon and Romford. That's a very good return. And we said they were just waiting for that home rink to come back. And they've started really well. So credit Solway. The imports are stepping up. Stewart and Ossick, they're getting a lot of points at the moment. It seems like they've settled a lot more. And it's just tough to get wins on the road in general, and specifically Solway. So a massive 3-point weekend for them. 2 points for Raiders. It's not a bad little take back to at least you're going back to Romford with something. But yeah, that is the doubleheader between them two. And then the thrilling game I was at, Bristol against Telford, a massive game for Telford, obviously dropping that cup game against Swindon. And Tanner Butler, wow, what a game from him offensively. Dan, he actually did the slap shots, and it paid off because he scored 2 absolute snipes with the slap shot. But Telford keep battling through it. They were 4-3 down after the second period. Bricknell scored a great goal for Bristol, by the way. His toe drag snipe in the top corner. It's the Bricknell special. But Charlie, Scott McKenzie, he's just on another level at the moment, even at that age. He scored the tying goal in the third period and then set up Danny Rose, the two veterans, just ending it. And it's another point for Bristol, but they'll be thinking they probably should have won that game.
Yeah, especially as out of the bottom 4 or 5 teams, they were the only team to not get 2 points at least this
Yeah.
weekend. But Telford, they're finding out that it was a big game for them in the cup. The overtime was big for them as well. And we found a way to get the win. And yeah, Scott McKenzie he just oozes class, doesn't he? He gets older, but his points don't get really any less, and he's quite clutch in the big moments. So yeah, it's a good result for Telford. And you said they didn't have McPhee in the game as
No,
well.
bad
So
injury for McPhee.
not having
Hitting
not
the
having
balls on Saturday. We'll leave it at that.
not
Uh,
having yeah, your import D is it's difficult. And they managed to survive quite well without him.
yeah. But yeah, big 2 points for Telford. What's the next one? Oh, it is your one, Dan.
Oh,
So, the Basingstoke Bison went down to Leeds. Sorry, up to Leeds. A Leeds team without Kieran Brown still, and Mac Howlett. So definitely a chance to get at them, Dan. And wasn't the greatest of starts. Ollie Endicott with the goal. Leeds love to score those quick goals at home, but I think the Bison then settled, didn't they? And it was an unlikely scorer who I forgot to mention we've got on this episode, so he'll probably be added in somewhere. Ty Cathcart from the blue line, Dan, getting it in, and then talk us through the crazy last 5 minutes, because it went from despair, where you would have been not robbed, but very unfairly losing that game, to ecstasy, I guess.
yeah. I mean, I can't even describe it. Like the goal that they scored, pretty much. If anyone's not seen the highlights, pretty much they just rimmed it around the boards, and obviously,
Zamboni
right,
door in Leeds is
yeah,
terrible.
it's literally that doggone assist, and it's like so. Wright came up behind the goal, obviously tracking the puck and ready to pass it out. The puck literally takes the diagonal line straight into the crease, and obviously Shankar is nowhere to be seen. He's obviously behind the net as well. And then you have Endicott there, taps it in, does the Archicelli all the way down Ellen Road,
For a
literally
talent.
all the way down. And I'm obviously quite annoyed at that point because that goal, like we were playing well, and that was the annoying bit about it. And it was just at that time in the game where like Leeds could have shut it down. Um, and then obviously, yeah, so that happened. And then Leeds going to take a penalty. We take a timeout. We pulled a goalie. I was like, we were talking in the crowd, we're like, do we pull the goalie now? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'd rather win the face off first and then pull the goalie. But no, Jeff has went out full pelt, 6 guys out there, 6 on 4. We win the face off and very smart play from Spadafora. I think in that time, like I think there was about 30 seconds to go when Milton scored. In
Yeah.
that time, a lot of players would have just shot that puck, but he looked up, he looked for that pass into Milton in the slot, and he was wide open. I don't know how they let a guy literally wide open in the slot. I know it's 6 on 4, but that was poor from Leeds, I'd say, and finally got past Gospel because he was standing on his head as well after Ty got that goal, and then yeah, obviously we get it to OT. I'm like, that's fair enough. I said before the game I'd take a point, and then yeah, end-to-end hockey in OT, and obviously Wilstead goes up the wing with Mo and just shoots it past Gospel. I'm surprised it went in, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. The way Gospel was playing, I thought Gospel had it in the bag, but I'm not complaining. Another win on the road, and yeah, we'll take that against Leeds.
Yeah, first 4 point weekend against very tough opposition, but an opposition who are there to be get at, because they obviously had a tough loss in Telford 6-1. Only one game this weekend. You'd expect them to really go out, and Basingstoke put on a great performance. Max Wright obviously being a big part of that as well, and they get a 4 point weekend. What
One
an away day!
Yeah, what an away day. But one thing that I did really like this weekend is through the week, obviously training, we were like focusing on back checking and fore checking and really getting that both ends of the ice. And we go into this weekend and we show it, and all the players bought into obviously what Jeff wanted, and we were non-stop forecheck. We really pinned both teams. We were able to get on the young demon that Leeds had. Like you said, Leeds had a team there that was you could get at them, and we needed to get them if we were going to stand a chance. And yeah, we were back checking on one end and forward checking on the other. So it's really good to see that the team are buying into what Jeff wants.
Yeah, it's a big weekend, team of the weekend for me. On to the second to last game, the Seahawks against the Steel Dogs, and the Steel Dogs again grinding out a big win, 5-4 in the end. Got a bit tight with 12 minutes to go, obviously a one-goal game, but the Steel Dogs defense and Old Dale just shut it down, and that's another 4-point weekend for them. A tough one for Hull. You want to try and get that would have been a big 4-point weekend for them if they could have got it. No Bartholomew in the lineup, obviously, but a big game from Sobchak. A hat trick for him on the night. I know it doesn't mean anything in the end because the Steel Dogs got the points. But yeah, Steel Dogs are just rolling, man. And I will say, Slava's been able to adapt his kind of way of playing with the players he's got. He's like they shut that game down for the last 12 minutes, but they've also got this offensive style of hockey where I really like he's making the most of the likes of Gendanov and Sommer and using the qualities which they have, and Steele as well, who's having a really good season. Garcia, I think, just goes under the radar. Like he's having a phenomenal season. So a big weekend for the Steel Dogs, who are now 1 point behind Swindon. Swindon do have a game in hand, but you'd rather have the points. So yeah, big one for Sheffield. And then the final game was a must-needed win for MK against their rivals, a depleted team, because Martelli and Norris did actually come back for this game. You mentioned it, Charlie, and we saw that because Norris did get two of the goals for the Lightning. But we'll go right back to the start of the game, and
What a
it was
start.
two fights. You'd expect it from a derby, but Barron dropped the gloves with Spadafor, and Salisbury dropped the gloves with Gretton. And Spadafor battered Barring. I think Barring had to take that fight because obviously the cross check on Grinnell Park back in Milton Keynes. And fair play to Spadafor. I think for me, Spadafor is the player who shows that he really does care for this team, and that's a big one for the fans as well, showing that. And I think he should be the one who gets that roster spot. I think he's been impressive this season, considering we gave him a bit of stick last season for the way he played, and I think he's been able to adapt. And then fair play Salisbury. We said he's a good fighter. He went toe to toe with Gretton, who I think is a good fighter as well, and that was a nice little fight. And then the game faced off, and it was 3-3. Going into the final 10 minutes. But Karenchuk and Spadafor both getting the goals to finish that one. And Charlie, they needed that, didn't they? But the thing is now they've got to try and get momentum off it. Like they've got a big cup game against Romford on Saturday. You cannot lose that game.
Yeah. No, no, I was listening. I just thought he was going to say something afterwards.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I think this MK team showed character, especially in a game where statistically I didn't watch it, but statistically Phantoms were the better team in terms of like shots and stuff like that. But MK found a way. It's big for Norris to get some goals on the board. He's not been quite the standard he was when before he went up to the Elite League.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I think, yeah, so it's big for him to get on the score sheet and hopefully he can carry some momentum across. Wow. I don't know about hopefully because I'm not MK's biggest fan, but
Well,
for
we've got him
MK,
this
you'd
weekend.
hope, from an MK fan's perspective, you'd hope he can carry on the momentum from the GB weekend. But I think the real challenge for MK and any team really this season is if you go on a harder patch of your season, there's no easy game, and that is true. Like, of course, you'd probably rather play a Bristol, a Basingstoke, a Solway in your home rink, of course. But any away game is tough, and any home game, if you're not like if you fall asleep, you can pay the price for it. And so you do just have to be on it each and every night. And so for MK, it is about finding that consistency. For me, especially with point scorers. And I'll say this, and I'll say the same for Hull, consistency with your imports. Like you can't keep having guys in and out and in and out. Like for example, if they choose to play against Romford at home and they scratch Jokinen, their forward core is going to be different to what it was the weekend before in the game they won. And Jokinen got I think 2 points against Phantoms. But then if they just keep scratching Forsberg because Spadafor's the one which gets to play, do you get rid of Forsberg? Do you just that's why I just one, I don't think there should be five, but two, I just don't think it makes sense because you just can't build that chemistry. Like we've seen with Stallard, it took him time and now he's got going, and you're starting to see that with Jokken and he's starting to get going a bit. But yeah, I think it's a big game on Saturday for them against Romford, and if they can get 3-4 wins in a row, then you can start to build momentum. But then if you suddenly lose another one, it's like, oh my days. So yeah,
especially at home. I think it is hard for teams to get points on the road this season. That has shown. Any 2 points on the road is a vital 2 points. On to the standings to finish then, and the Wildcats remain top, only by a point. With the Steel Dogs closely behind, they have played a game more. Leeds are 3 points behind Swindon. Same amount of games played. Telford go up to fourth by 1 point, with MK just behind them. Peterborough and Romford, same amount of points for. Oh, sorry, 1 point between them, and then another point back is Hull. So it's so tight. And then the playoff battle is just absolutely brilliant as well. You've got Bristol 11, Solway 10, and then Basingstoke, who've played 5 less games, they're on 8. So all to play for, but it's really early days. We'll go into the cup, I think, after next week, where we'll get a good idea of who possibly might be there, because I think there's a couple of teams can qualify next week. So we'll have to see. But yeah, thanks, Ty, for coming on. If he's been added into this episode, I think I'm doing that a bit later tonight. Anything else to add before we finish up?
Yeah, I'm not going to as many hockey games, but I am watching Bristol versus Swindon on Friday.
Friday.
Get to reunite with the fam, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a good game. And then I think you're going down to
I'm
Basingstoke.
going to Basingstoke Saturday because Swindon don't have a game. We're playing Friday, Sunday, so it means I can come watch the Bison in their rink for the first time.
That's if we let you in.
Yeah, you will let me in, mate.
We don't let Swindon fans in normally. So.
Oh, we let you in for the whole season last year. We accompanied you for every single game. So don't come at me like that, mate.
I made my way in.
Yeah, shush. Right.
And now everyone wants me back, but no.
No, I'm happy with me and my dad watching it. A lot more space around.
And then Bristol fans, if you've got tickets for Friday, just don't bother because obviously, you know, there's that one there in the game. So don't bother.
It'll be a good game. Be a tough game, actually. Right, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.